Oh, is anybody out there? Dan is live, coming to you from the comforts of his home. Bye bye, City Leyte. We're heading out. We're heading out. Man, Minnie and I are going to head downtown. We got things to do. This is an impromptu live stream because something's happened within the last couple of days. I want to talk a little bit about it. It has to do with the Tim K controversy and involves Andy Omar and Moog Man. Um, I believe that Tim K and Moogman, they're from Southern Leyte. They're down the road a little bit, about 2 hours. Good morning, everybody. I'm not sure, not sure I'm going to be able to answer questions. I'm just going to share my opinion on the Tim K controversy. If you haven't been into Tim K's channel and Chrissy K, they were pretty big time at one time on YouTube, and now things have settled down a little bit. And I just want to talk about a couple of things that you mentioned about libel and defamation, which is a pretty serious accusation to be made against those two guys here in the Philippines. As many of you know, they could be punishable by both criminal and civil penalties. Yeah. If they're able to prove a case against the party in question, or the parties in question, I should say, then they could be subject to severe criminal and financial penalties. But I think the main problem here is that is Tim K or Chrissy K's complaint timely? Because if I understand Filipino law correctly when it comes to libeling somebody on social media, I believe that you have to file the complaints within a reasonable period of time. In other words, so that they could be reviewed not only by Filipino law enforcement, but also by the social media platform in question. And then a decision would be made as to whether to proceed to allow the comments to stay up or to take them down. So I think that there's a possibility that they may not have a case. They may not have a case at this point. They might have a case for future incidents of slander if they could prove that the reputation of their family has been harmed in some way. But Tim K, in his latest video, mentioned that he was suffering from financial harm due to these accusations that have been made online by Mr. Andy Omar and the Moog Man. Now, I'll have to admit, I have not met the Moog Man. However, I've had a couple of conversations online with Andy Omar in the past, and he seems like a nice enough guy. Of course, in conversations that we have had in the past had nothing to do with Tim K or anything else other than talking about sharing general ideas about what it's like living in the Philippines and those types of things. We were going to meet at one time. I think that when Andy Omar was visiting here, or it seemed to me for a time, he might have even been living close by here in Bye City Leyte. We had plans to meet, but they never came to fruition for whatever reason. We just sort of lost track of each other. So anyway, it's hard for me to see who's here on this little teeny tiny phone. So just wanted to warn you about that. So this isn't going to be long. The only point that I want to make is, yeah, it's blowing up. It's blowing up YouTube right now, this controversy that's going on. It was, after all, Tim K who said that YouTubers tend to eat their own. I'm not saying that we should be protecting each other, but we tend to throw each other under the bus from time to time. And so, especially if you're an easy target, I'm not saying that anybody deserves to be thrown under the bus, but Tim K is probably right. We probably shouldn't be doing that to each other. But here's Tim K, public figure, American, not Filipino, on YouTube, talking about how this controversy has affected him and his ability to attract sponsors and YouTube viewers, apparently. But I'm not a believer in all that. I'm not a believer. I don't think that you could point directly. I mean, that direction. I don't think you could point that direction and say that you've suffered financial loss and of revenue because of things that people have been saying about you on YouTube, because revenue streams are in decline. So if you're going to try and seek out, let's say, if you're going to trying to be made whole by going after, somebody for money, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult case in order to prove. So if you haven't seen the video online and Tim K pleading his case, then I would recommend that you guys go on there to see what he has to say. And he's requesting folks that have seen any slanderous things show up on social media to forward them to either his wife or himself, so they could start building a case. But like I said, when I look at social media slander law in the Philippines, it is very serious. I mean, they can definitely fine you. They can definitely put you in jail, and they could even deport you if you're not a Filipino. if you're in there and you're talking smack against people and especially the government, they're going to give you the smackdown. So we try not to do that because we love the Philippines and we don't want to be kicked out of the country. But I don't think that. I think he's smart. I think Tim K is smart because he's talking about his wife filing the case. But that's if they actually have one. Again, things that come to mind are things that Tim K himself has said in the past, that is that we tend to we tend to eat our young here on YouTube, and it's been very challenging lately, especially the folks in the Dumaguete area. I think that most people know what I'm talking about. But when I look at the 4 steps for putting together a good case, seems to me that Tim K has already lost part of the opportunity, part of it, not all of it, in that he didn't take action immediately once accusations and things started to be said about him on YouTube. So that's one problem. And then the other problem, the way that I see it, is him trying to get financially reimbursed for harm, or trying to prove that what is being said has cost him money. And I think that's a little bit impossible in this environment, an environment where everybody is getting views, but they're just not getting the revenue because the advertisers and the sponsors simply aren't there. So he would have to prove that they abandoned him because of things that people said that soiled his reputation. I just don't think it's a viable case. Others may think that it is. I'm not in that camp 100%, which doesn't mean that I'm not in his camp. I like Tim K to a certain degree. I subscribe to his channel. I watch him every now and again, to see what he's up to, but he's a little bit on the conservative side, a little bit too far right for me, but that's okay because you get a good view of the world by taking in people's understanding of what it's like on the left and what it's like on the right. And if you're not willing to open your mind and listen to what somebody has to say, then, what can I say? You get what you get. If you can't analyze and evaluate, and then that's how you get to truth. Well, anyway, this probably means, going live here and doing this, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it's such a great idea, But anyway, I just wanted to throw it out there and share my thoughts for you guys to ponder. Mammy and I we're headed downtown right now. We got Dunkin' Donuts to the new Dunkin' Donuts to visit. We'll be doing a video on that. And you guys all have a nice rest of your day. And I'm out. I'm ending the live now. See everybody later. Thank you for joining me. Bye.